didn't you miss this? Sitting in the car and after watching a few movies and driving around to find the perfect spot to park in with the lighting, only to end up in the same spot.
Well, let's go over here.
Let's try it over here. I was being a little nitpicky with the background. Actually, it looks fine. It looked a little brighter, so like 10 minutes ago. Went over there. Oh no, the light in front of it is way, way, way too bright. It looks like we're directly under the sun. And as we learned from the first movie we'll be talking about, it's bad to spend a long time under the sun. So, midnight. So welcome to the new midnight screenings. Same as the old midnight screenings. We'll be rambling on here and talk about a movie for like 5 minutes after the rambling. But it's specifically for Patreon requests. And this is when you're a top tier contributor over on Patreon. And you can make a request for us to talk about. Well, that's entirely up to you. And usually, and a lot of times the choices are like, I've never heard of that movie. And then we watch the movie and I'm like, yeah, I know why that one slipped by me. So you can make those requests over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob. And I did miss doing this, honestly. I mean, truth be told, yeah, I'm going to be 40 this month. It was getting a little harder on my attention span to do midnight screenings for every single movie that came out. I really was loving just scripting it out, just writing like a paragraph, having like 3 to 7 minute long reviews that come out, and that's what I've been doing right now for the new movies. And yeah, it has been easier on me. Like I'm like, okay, I'm forgetting less things, so I can jot out all of my thoughts. I still do forget some things.
When we riff on each other or riff off of each other, it's definitely a lot easier to forget stuff.
It is, but I still do forget some things. I just reviewed Sing 2, and for some reason completely forgot that there's a scene in the movie where music from Caligula plays. Oh, how did I forget that? Now, in fairness,
Sing 2.
In fairness, it's from the Romeo and Juliet ballet. I just always think about it as like, oh, they played that in the opening credits to Caligula.
Oh, okay.
So we got 3 movies to talk about today. We have got Beyond the Reach from 2014, this Michael Douglas thriller. Then we'll have Paul Schrader's First Reformed, and then the German animated movie Felidae. So we have all 3 of those. But first, you want to plug your
yeah. So I, for the last year, have been streaming on Twitch. I play my drums to viewer requests. Got a chat bot set up. You can request a song and watch me try to play drums along with it. It's actually a lot more fun than it sounds. But
request music from Caligula,
and you can. Do
it. The disco version.
Twitch.tv/Jared Foils is where to find me.
Now, Ben, you know that's not fair. You get your ass out of there. I'm gonna come down there and shoot you.
Now let's get to our first movie, which is the Michael Douglas thriller Beyond the Reach. This was requested to do a special thanks to Vincent Perrone. Thanks for requesting this. I'm not sure why this specific movie was requested. Sometimes I know. Sometimes they're like, yeah, I really like this movie. I want to hear what you think of it. And then sometimes they're just messing with us. Like the Ginger Dead Man. Movies like that. So this movie, I hadn't heard of this movie, honestly, until it was requested. That's happened before, where like I'll just randomly spot some Michael Douglas movie that I like hadn't heard of. When I saw this, it reminded me of when I was working at the video store and we were putting up new releases on the wall, and I'm sitting there like, what in the hell is The King of California? Not heard of this. Maybe it's all right. I don't know. I remember the box cover and being like, what's that movie? All right, this is a movie in which, well, you got Michael Douglas going back to being the villain in the film.
Hell yeah.
A wealthy slick, like rich dude, sleazy millionaire guy who wants to go out in the desert and hunt. So he takes a guide with him, and really Michael Douglas has got like a sweet setup here. He's got an espresso machine. He's got like he can make 5-star meals in the back of his truck. It's like he designed the Cybertruck from Tesla or something.
He really did.
This movie's like testing this shit out. Like when he's hunting the dude later on, he stops for a martini break. He's watching this guy walking through the desert, waiting for him to like die of exhaustion, and just kicks out this like lawn chair to sit in. And drink martinis while watching this sunburnt dude.
You know, and I even pointed out while we were watching it that the director Jean Baptiste, I forget his last name, and what's funny is he has the same first / middle name as the founder of Chicago.
Oh,
Jean Baptiste Point du Sable.
Baptiste Chicago.
Du Sable. and no, I had mentioned that this movie felt like he was just like, man, I miss old 80s movies where Michael Douglas plays the villain.
Yeah, and in those movies, Michael Douglas was at least like, I mean, usually he'd get caught by the end of it.
Yeah.
But I never thought he was like dumb. Not unlike this movie. All right, this movie was a piece of shit.
It really
I'm not gonna lie. Like, this was not good. For 90% of it, I was sitting there going, all right, I mean, this is kind of like the textbook definition of a rental, but then it hits a point. I'll get to that later on, because before then, just the whole setup of this movie.
Yeah.
That Michael Douglas and this young dude who's a bore, who is like, I don't care, just a bland lead.
Exactly,
But there's
he really is.
there's not that much grittiness to this movie.
No.
There's really not. So when you're watching these sequences of him waiting for this guy to die in the desert, all of it is just kind of framed in this over glossy, too polished look that makes it look like he's just watching a male model walk through the desert for 90 minutes. And then sometimes there's flashbacks to sex scenes to again get like the good looking actors to pose without pants and have their shirts off for no reason in this movie.
Right.
And I knew we were in trouble when it doesn't quite open with the 2 days earlier thing, but it might as well. Like, let's face it, it does. It just does it in, honestly, a dumber way, where it opens with a shot of later on in the movie, him in his underwear running through the desert, and then he wakes up as if that was a bad dream.
You know, I didn't even notice that.
It does.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it never touches on the fact that he is apparently a psychic dreamer, because this happens at the end of the movie, too.
Yeah.
Where like, we need to like re-edit this movie and put in the studio notes. Let's make him have psychic visions when he falls asleep. That way we can show something from later in the movie and have the world's dumbest climax. So he takes Michael Douglas hunting in the desert. Coyotes. So Michael Douglas, he doesn't have the right permit, so he like bribes his way in there, and just the first time he sees any kind of silhouette of any kind, he takes a sniper rifle and shoots it, and it happens to be old Charlie, the prospector who lives in the caves, and he just shot and killed.
Yeah. This might as well have just been an accident. You could have just been like, hey, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, he's about to close this business deal. We're not sure what the deal is. He just is on the phone a lot during the movie. Yeah,
right.
Like
close this deal.
we ran into a major hiccup. Like I'll be the deal will happen. Just give me a minute on the deal. Okay, the deal is still happening. Like, it really does seem like Gordon Gekko just went out hunting for a couple of days and just decided to kill some time and hunt this guy in the desert. So things are kind of wrapped up 30 minutes in when Michael Douglas says to the guy, look, I know you're broke. I will pay you like $300,000. I'll pay your way through college. Let's just take care of this so no one knows about it. He also blackmails the guy too, because he takes the guy's gun and puts a bullet from his gun also in the body, and he's like, who you gonna believe? They shake on this deal, so it's like, yeah, okay, like, I guess this is fine, like, you just go about your ways, take care of his college, we're good.
Yeah.
And then the guy tries narking on him. Like, Michael Douglas catches him on, like, that little radio.
Yeah.
And is like, what are you doing? We had a deal. Where I come from, a handshake is as good of a deal.
Yeah. And he just and that's whenever he goes berserk. Like, he didn't just be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He like screams at the guy, like, "Ah!"
Throws his gun on him and everything. And so also, like, all right, well, just, I don't offer to pay him more money or something. I don't know. But all right, so I was like, if you want to kill this kid, to stop him from ratting you out,
Just kill him.
Just kill him. I realize your plan is like, okay, I'm going to try to make it look like this young guy is crazy and shot Charlie, so we'll make it look like he just died of heat exhaustion in the desert. But it does reach a point where Michael Douglas is shooting at this guy and also trying to run him down with his car at one point. So you don't care that much.
Right.
Like, other than to spend, it just feels like a waste of time for the villain to just spend a couple of days following this guy around in the desert and pass out. He thinks he's dead at one point.
Yeah.
He doesn't bother to check the body.
He just fires some shots like around the body, just like he's like, "Get up!"
This is the kind of movie that would be, it's based on a book. The book was written in the 1970s. I could see this working as like a 70s TV movie.
Yeah.
To where it'd have some kind of grittiness to it, some kind of grain to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the movie is already only 90 minutes, so it doesn't really need to be shorter.
Sure.
And if it was a TV movie, yeah, it'd be like 75 to 90 minutes. So it would, oh, go ahead.
But here's the thing about going off of what you said about it being a TV movie. I saw that style in the cinematography, like using telescopic lenses and whatnot to zoom from like really far distances back over to Michael Douglas right here. You know, I kind of appreciated that. I was just kind of like, I kind of miss that cinematography style. You know,
I didn't think this movie was that stylish. Like, I thought, it's not that I thought it looked bad. It just looked like what a standard movie like this of the past 10 years would probably look like.
Really?
I've seen better there's a lot of like desert chase movies and cat and mouse games, things like that I've seen that are way more stylish and more grittier than this.
Sure.
Like, just off the top of my head, Broken Arrow was a lot more fun than this.
I'm sure. Yeah. No.
I mean, dear, I realize it's a high standard to live up to, but Sergio Leone with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, when you got Tuco trying to thirst out Clint Eastwood walking through the desert for about an hour. But this, I don't know, it just looked like what a typical mediocre movie like this I would expect it to look like this.
Well, okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't hold it to those standards, and I'm not trying to say that this is a good movie. I guess I just kind of recognize what they were trying to do with the cinematography.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's why I was just kind of like, I see what you're doing, movie.
Yeah, I mean, I was never that enthralled by it, even with the cinematography.
Really?
With just how bland the lead was. I didn't care. I didn't care enough about him to have this noble stand against our movie's villain.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I'm just sort of like, you're making this situation complicated. I'm rooting for Michael Douglas. They didn't give me a reason to care whether or not this guy makes it out of here.
I was going to say, I love whenever he finds Charlie's slingshot.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah, exactly, because it's just like scripture. It's a real David and Goliath story. If Goliath was throwing dynamite at our hero and saying things like, blow out the candle, it's your birthday, and one-liners that they give you. You know what they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'll kill you. Ugh. Oh my God, I would be shocked if that was in the book. Again, like I said, this should be a movie from the 70s on TV. That'd be an ABC movie of the week, starring Dennis Weaver or something. You know, that'd be really cool.
Or a younger Michael Douglas.
Yeah, you're exactly right. A young Michael Douglas. Yeah, he could be the young guy in the movie. And then, so going back to what I said earlier, for about 90% of this, I was like writing like a C- grade. I was going like, it's not really sucking me in. It is just doing everything it can to get by with just being mediocre and nothing more and nothing less than that. And I was like, this is the textbook definition of a rental. Something that you just rent if it's raining on a Friday night.
Right.
You got this, you put it on. It's an easy movie to sit through.
Right.
It's short.
Oh, should we talk about the ending?
That's what I'm getting to now.
Okay, good.
And then it just... The movie is done at one point. It's over. You've got our lead being like, no, and Michael Douglas getting on this helicopter. It's done. It's the movie's over. It reaches a point where it's not stupid, yeah, and far-fetched, but done. And then it keeps going where Michael Douglas, who has escaped this situation by basically paying his way out of it, having a helicopter picking him up and getting the hell out of this small town that had him locked up in this station. And then in our hero, Ben, his psychic dreams, he goes home at night with his girlfriend. His psychic dream shows him that Michael Douglas is breaking into his house and is going to kill him in his sleep. And I'm going, this is dumb. Then I'm like, oh wait, this is a dream. So he wakes up and it is a dream, but then Michael Douglas actually is sitting in there. Why? What? As if this guy wouldn't just pay someone to do it himself.
Right,
if he really wanted this guy to be knocked off, he's clearly a billionaire. Like, all right, I'm going to pay to have this done. I'll pay an actual professional assassin to take this guy out. And then, so what was the conversation like in this helicopter? What was Michael Douglas? Because Michael Douglas is still wearing the clothes. He's still dirty from being knocked out in the desert. Yeah. Did he tell the helicopter guy, like, wait a minute, hang on. We gotta go back. I'm sorry. Give me a shotgun. I need to break into this guy's house and shoot him while he sleeps. I hope the girlfriend doesn't have a revolver under the pillow for whatever reason.
Which she does.
I watched that ending and I was like, there's no way this is the ending of the book. There is no way. This is such a studio note ending.
Yeah.
This is such a test audience ending. There is no way. And I looked up the book. It does not end like this. Honestly, the ending of the book is a little anticlimactic, but it was a better ending than this. Basically, the ending in the book is they're in the police station and he does try blaming Ben for what happened, but then they find out he's guilty because of forensic evidence. So it's like that. And so I was like, okay, yeah, this is nothing like, not even the helicopter thing seemed to happen in the book.
Sure.
But at least that, I was like, that's, all right, fine, that's an ending point, whatever, we can just fly out of this movie. You get to that bullshit, that last 5 minutes, that was such a dog shit, tacked on ending that makes every character involved in this just the dumbest person in the world.
Right.
I don't care. So that brought it down to a D for me.
Really?
Yeah. There was nothing believable at the movie. It's not gritty enough for me to be fully invested in this situation.
Yeah.
It really just, I always felt like I was watching a movie. I was watching a movie where they're kind of looking for an excuse to put this dude in abs just in the desert and have him walk around. And Michael Douglas does what he can, certainly. Like, I mean, he's always good, and he's not bad here. He's having a good time. This is not one of his best. This is, I can see why this was kind of dumped on video on demand.
Yeah.
Like 2014, whenever it came out.
And I'll agree with you. I'll also give it a D.
Oh, you're going for a D as well?
Yeah.
Was it the ending that brought it down for you, or were you kind of always at a D?
I was kind of always at a D.
Were you?
Like,
okay.
Even though I appreciated the cinematography, that wasn't enough. Like that wasn't enough for me to really. Like you said C-, and I thought, wow, that's pretty.
Because I was writing that for a while, because it's like it's not that I'm sitting there going, God, this is a piece of shit, until it got later on into the movie. Then it reached a point where I'm like, no, this movie's bullshit. Yeah. This movie sucks. All right, well, stick around, because coming up next, after the break, we will have Paul Schrader's First Reformed, so stick around.
And when scientists say stuff like that, National Center for Atmospheric Research.
Low-lying areas underwater across the world. Bangladesh, 20% loss of landmass.
The bad times, they will begin, and from that point, everything moves very quickly.
All right, I can tell we have not done this in a while, because I was just telling this before I hit record on here. I am winded. I'm parched. I'm like, oh crap. We didn't see these in the theater, so we don't have our sodas on us. Should have brought some soda or some water.
Right.
And the apartments across the street. I was just so thirsty from talking about the desert movie.
Coincidence?
Yeah. So now, I didn't do a midnight screenings on this. Paul Schrader's First Reformed. This was your first time seeing it. I'd seen it before. I watched it, I think 2017, is that when this came out? I watched it maybe like 4 years ago to the date, because I remember watching it at the end of the year, because I don't know if it came to theaters in maybe it came to theaters in Springfield, but it was getting close to me doing my like 10 best of the year list. When I do that, I try to find a lot of movies through the year that I might have missed in theaters that I heard were really good and I do want to check out. That was when I saw First Reformed, when I was watching like a bunch of movies in a day or throughout a weekend. I was like, I should probably watch that. I love Paul Schrader. I hear this is really good. I don't remember if it made my 10 best. I did remember really liking it, but I don't remember if I thought it was if I included it on my list or not. Retrospectively, I'm sort of like, I can't remember what else I put on that list, but I'm like, maybe I should have, because I do remember liking it, but then watching it again, I'm like, no, I really do like this movie a lot. This is really damn good. If this didn't make my top 10, maybe I just saw 10 movies I liked better, but I feel like this should have been on there.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's possible you just saw movies that you thought were better that just stuck with you more than this movie did. Because I would say that, like, while I'm not a big fan of slow burns, I didn't hate this movie.
Yeah.
It was all right. It was all right. And I think for that reason, like, I'll still grade it relatively high, but you know, I'm not gonna like call it my favorite of the year.
I know I wouldn't have put this at like number 1.
Yeah.
I just mean on somewhere on like the top 10 list, because I love Schrader and I love his writing, and this was Paul Schrader doing Taxi Driver Paul Schrader again, where you got a character who's just losing faith in so many things.
Sure.
It is progressively going a little more unstable as the movie goes along.
Yeah.
He's narrating, he's journaling through the movie,
Yeah.
and then it has one hell of a climax.
Yeah.
And I just saw Schrader do that recently again with the card counter with Oscar Isaac that came out a few months ago. And I liked the card counter. I did like this one a lot better. Schrader is such a good writer with dialogue that it can be a pretty extended scene between a couple of characters and this dialogue, and it's wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
For me at least. Like when near the beginning, when Ethan Hawke goes into Amanda Seyfried and her husband's house, he and her fiance, husband, whoever, were sitting there talking about faith and shit that's going on in the world,
Sure,
whether or not
yeah.
a kid should be brought into the world, what
Yeah.
things are going to be like in 50 years, and how it's just like devastating this guy.
Right.
That was all wildly entertaining to me. I mean, Schrader, he's great at directing actors. He is. And he's great at dialogue. And Ethan Hawke is fantastic in this movie. I mean, he's in about 100% of the scenes, probably. So he definitely has to carry it from beginning to end. And he really does. There's some issues I have script-wise. I thought Ethan Hawke was damn good in this movie. I like the story. I like that it's about this guy who maybe didn't necessarily pay attention to things going on in the world, but he seems to have this potentially maybe fatal illness or some kind of illness.
Yeah.
His health is deteriorating over the movie. He's found this guy who committed suicide.
Yeah.
He's sort of learning about a lot of things going wrong with the world and whether or not we're doing this to God's gift that is this world that he's given us, and whether or not God will forgive us for what's kind of been going on. And so he is good at like seeing this kind of progression of the character, or at least like his unraveling through the movie.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
And how really all he needs is just some booze. Honestly, he's almost got that taken care of. Like, look, he's got a nightcap going on. He's putting some Pepto in his whiskey. He's putting some whiskey in his cereal. Dude, just keep doing that. You'll be loose, man. You'll be all right.
You'll beat this cancer.
Yeah. You'll beat the cancer.
All you need is a little bit of whiskey.
You won't worry about climate change or anything like that. It's a little whiskey in the morning.
Just get drunk.
Watch some TV reruns. Watch some Friends reruns.
So what was some of your scripting issues?
I remember thinking this the first time I saw it, and I did here too, where I don't know how much I buy him going so psychotic he's going to be a suicide bomber.
Yeah, that definitely derailed me too. Like I was like, where did this come from?
In other things Schrader has written that are a little like this, I buy it. Like Travis Bickle just seems like he's a loose cannon who's gonna snap many times in Taxi Driver. It's believable that where Taxi Driver goes. The card counter, it got rushed in its climax, but it wasn't necessarily unbelievable. Here, I buy that this guy's depressed, certainly, and is losing faith in the world, losing faith in mankind, also dealing with his own health issues as well. I can wrap my head around, like, okay, yeah, now it's kind of seeming like at a point where he'll wrap barbed wire around himself and maybe drink some Drano. All right. I can see that. The strapping himself with and I know it's foreshadowed through the movie. I get it.
Yeah.
But I was never believing he was that psychotic.
Exactly. No, I'm with you. I'm 100% there with you. Whenever he decided that he was going to, when he was like deciding that he was going to bomb the church full of people, I was like, whoa, dude, wait, step back. Let's think about this for just a second, because the only reason why he wants to do this is to kill the CEO of an energy company, and it's just like. And so it's like you're just going to use a bomb to kill a fly. What's wrong with a gun?
And it seems like he seems to have enough of a slight grasp on reality to where he should know, like, this is not going to help my cause. You know,
right.
Like, it's not like this is going to be in papers and people are going to be like, he had a point. Like,
I'll say that the frame compositions where the characters would walk off of frame, that kind of annoyed me. How about you? You didn't?
No, that didn't bother me. I mean, that's kind of a Schrader thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those kind of shots I sort of expect out of his movies. So no, nothing like that bothered me. I thought you were going to talk about when they ended up in space.
Okay. Well, now that let's unpack that for a second. So the dead guy's now widow comes over to the pastor's house, right? And she proposes to him that they do this awkwardly kind of honestly inappropriate like thing where they lay on top of each other fully clothed, and they just, I guess they meditate or something
like that.
Yeah,
it's almost a dream sequence from The Big Lebowski. You can kind of hear Bob Dylan playing in your head a little bit. La 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 la.
So they do this. They're laying there on top of each other. You could definitely feel the sexual tension, which I did like that. But then they levitate. You're just like, oh, fucking come on, movie.
You said you wanted something to happen. Laura was taking a nap. Laura was taking a nap. She came in, and she goes, "You guys like the movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen it before. I really like it." And you were like, "I don't know. I'm waiting for something to happen," and something did. They ended up in space.
Foreshadowing, or no, symbolism. Sorry, wrong term. God, and then they do. They as they're levitating, they basically green screen space, and then like
trees
and
tires.
Alps.
I think to the Alps. Yeah. They're on some good shit, man. Schrader might have been on some good shit when he wrote it. I don't know if there's Schrader movies I'd put above this one in terms of ones that he also directed. I love American Gigolo. I love Hardcore. Yeah. Those two I liked better than this, but I did like this better than I did The Card Counter. I really did dig the shit out of this movie, and he does. More often than not, he does good with stunt casting as well. Like, I've seen it before where he'll use comedians in a more kind of dramatic role.
Oh, yeah.
Like, back in the day with Richard Pryor in Blue Collar. Here with Cedric the Entertainer. Mm-hmm. It didn't work quite as well with Tiffany Haddish in The Card Counter. It's not that she's bad, but she wasn't that great, especially opposite Oscar Isaac, who was really good in that movie.
Yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer is very good in this movie.
Oh,
I thought.
Totally, yeah. And he even credited himself as his real name, like Cedric Ryan or something like that. I think is his real name.
Kyles or something.
Kyles,
like that.
yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, that's when you know it's a serious movie.
Hey, Cedric the Entertainer. No. I am now known as Cedric Kyles.
On Blue Collar, was Richard Pryor like, it's Dick Pryor? What? That doesn't make you sound more serious? I'm not calling you that on the credits.
Previous Dick.
Yeah. It's like that, remember that brief period where Charlie Sheen went by Charles Sheen? It lasted like 2 years.
No,
what are you doing? Like, you're not. This isn't Platoon. This is some direct-to-video action movie you're in. Charles Sheen. I'm not calling you that. You're Charlie. You'll always be Charlie.
Like I said, I'm not a big fan of slow burns, but I did enjoy this. Even though I had a few like small nitpicky issues. Let's go with B-.
A B-?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually higher than I thought you were going to give it.
Yeah.
I'm going much higher than that. I was consistently entertained by this. I think I did like it better the second time, even though I really liked it the first time too. I like that it's just this dude, just his outlook on people and society and everything is just unraveling through this movie. And yeah, while it escalates kind of quickly in some things in the climax, I thought it was a good climax. In that, like, just the mixture of music and singing and the tension that's mounting.
Yes.
And different interpretations you can have on the final scene, the final shot from the movie. I thought it was a hell of a climax. So I'd give it an A. I really, really enjoyed this. Right. I did, and it was still cool sitting through it a second time. Whether it's because of the dialogue, Ethan Hawke's performance, where everything is leading, and what they do with the ending. I really enjoyed watching this, and I want to thank Kelly Davis for recommending that we watch this. So thanks a bunch, Kelly. If you want to pick a request for midnight screenings, contribute to us over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob. To request a midnight screenings is like the top tier level on there, but by all means go on there and check that out. And when we come back, we'll be back with Felidae. So that'll be the next movie that we get to right after the break. So see you then.
There he lay, a black brother, legs stretched out as though he was asleep. Only he wasn't asleep.
Now the final one of the evening, which my voice is thanking me for. It has been a while since we've done this. I'm sitting here at the beginning of this video like, oh yeah, it's much easier on me to kind of write like little short reviews now. And then we save midnight screenings for the Patreon request. It makes it a much more special show. And I'm like, oh, we're not slowly getting back into it. 3 in a row, same video. We didn't even watch the movies in between this. We're shooting all 3 of these at the same time as me just clicking pause in between them. I'm like
right after the first movie, I get up to put my coat on and like...
Where you going? We got 2 movies left. Sit down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm talking to you. So luckily, though, like, nothing was that long that we watched.
No.
Felidae's like 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Beyond the Reach was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Schrader's was an hour and 50. And we're saving the cat movie for last. So people will be like, why wasn't Lloyd in there watching it with you? Oh, Lloyd was watching the movie with us.
He was.
He was. We want a special thanks to Gelli Elfson. Gelli or Gelli Elfson? I want to guess Gelli. Gelli Elfson. Gelli. Elfson requested that we watch this one. So thanks a bunch. And if you want to make a Patreon request, you can do so by being a top tier contributor over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob. And I had always heard of this movie and I'd seen clips before. I'd seen some still shots. This was my first time actually seeing it from beginning to end.
Oh, yeah?
And it was your first time too, right?
Yeah.
This is a 1994 German animated movie that really is a setup to Lloyd becoming a private detective.
It really is.
It is. It's his first case. He's not a Siamese cat in this, though. And his name is Francis in this. He moves to a town with his owner. Just like when Lloyd and I moved years ago when we moved to that house over on Edwards. Like, Lloyd and I moved there, instantly gets involved in a murder mystery. Not just finds a cat dead in the backyard, just throat gaped open.
Right.
Brutally slashed. It's like the first 2 minutes of the movie. Cat's
really
already like, whoa,
really
we gotta solve this shit. We're gonna see here.
We're gonna find
Damn.
out. We're gonna find out how this happened and who's responsible.
Yeah, I love this movie, man.
I do too.
I love this movie because this movie, like, it's totally about cats. It's about cats and it's for cats. Like, you could be sitting there with your cat watching this movie. So, which means it's got crime, it's got sleaze, it's got cursing, it's got drinking and sex and everything. Just like your typical cat will enjoy.
It's a movie for the everyday cat.
Exactly. They think Aristocats is something for your everyday cat. No. Like us cat people will tell you, cats will want a movie where they can see themselves in there, just having sex, fighting other cats, getting involved in murder mysteries, which are graphic, by the way.
Yeah. The death scenes, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So Lloyd was constantly on the couch watching this and seemed to be rather entertained, especially that they call humans in the movie cat openers.
Can openers?
Or can openers, sorry. Can openers. Oh, there are cat openers
I was gonna
in this
say,
movie.
there is one human who was a cat opener.
Man, the cats have some weird dreams in this movie, man. Like, he'll be asleep and is dreaming about like the faceless vet putting him on a chain and doing experiments on him and shit. I'm like, is that why Lloyd's so stressed in the morning? And I wake up and he's really chatty. He's excited when I wake up. You're finally awake, you bastard. And then Laura's next to me like, can you take him with you? He does get really excited when I wake up. I fall asleep quicker than Laura does. So like Lloyd will be, I like Lloyd's siren song in the morning. It's a nice way to wake up. And then Laura's like, can you hold him, please? I feel like you could make an argument too that the events of this movie are happening in the same universe as Heathcliff. There's just something about it. It's like, I know that Heathcliff is maybe never mentioned prostitution or drugs or murder really, But I have a feeling all of those things exist in the Heathcliff universe. It just seems like
I mean, you're right. I mean, there was even that one female cat that she was very curvy in an unnecessary way.
There is a sex scene in this movie too. that sex scene in this is what I went out of that wolf movie I saw yesterday. the wolf, where I'm like, this isn't an erotic thriller. They're just hissing at each other. This movie, no man, Francis wants to get laid, and he does at one point.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, he earned it because the cat earlier was brutally decapitated.
Right.
That's what I love about this movie.
God.
Like, the cats will be talking to each other, and sometimes with the way that they're talking and the way some of their voices are, you'll kind of trick yourself in your head like you're watching like an older kids movie.
Yeah.
But then, there's just a severed head right there. There's like this Nazi experiments then going on where that cat's not coming back.
Right.
Like that cat's dead.
That cat's dead.
But their brains just went everywhere. There's like just dream sequences of just these field of like ghost cats.
Yeah.
And it's trippy, man. It is. It is like you're watching this cool, stylish murder mystery that's possibly about a cult.
Yeah.
And
but
they're all
very
cats.
much like a cult.
Yeah, and
It very much is a cult.
this all makes sense to me. It just I believe that we as humans, unbeknownst to us when we go to sleep, our cats are getting involved in what is essentially the Thorn cult for cats. And like electrocuting each other. And
I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
and when they talk,
what else are they doing?
Yeah, that's why Lloyd's so stressed. It makes sense to me now. Why he needs to sleep the day off because he's spent the night watching another cat get electrocuted for 20 minutes. And I like that when they're talking to each other, they still do cat stuff. Like they'll kind of scratch their chin a little bit. They still kind of move that way.
Lick their paw.
Yeah. One is like eating a spider that drops down in front of them. I like that some are like big and muscular, like they're a dog, sort of like.
Right, there's that one guy and that one cat who, like, seriously looks like a dog.
He looks like Hector from Looney Tunes, sort of.
He really does. My God. And you're like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be a cat, I guess?
Mm-hmm. No, I thought this movie was fun. Like, I did. I wasn't sitting there. I was never sitting there depressed when I was watching it, you know, like, okay, yeah, you describe some of the violent scenes in this movie that are brutal, like claws coming out, claw down the chest, organs coming out.
Yeah, like this cat's claw suddenly becomes like Wolverine's claws.
Yeah,
you know, like,
and Laura, when she's actually back in there watching it right now because she had to take a nap earlier and it was like 20 minutes into the movie, but then we were talking about it and she said, I kind of want to watch the rest of this. I'm like, you'll like it. She's like, oh, but is it depressing? I'm like, no, if I'm describing the brutal scenes, it might sound like it'll make you sad, but it's more like you're watching like a Giallo film, but with animated cats.
Yeah. You know, I kind of had, and I know it was because it was translated from German to English.
Oh, yeah, we did watch the English dub, by the way.
And, and that's just the thing, like it still looked like everything that they were saying lip-synced.
Yeah, they did a good job with that.
Yeah, okay. So this wasn't originally animated in English.
No, it's originally German.
Huh, wow.
I think.
Yeah, they really did do a good job because I couldn't tell. There was nothing there that really struck me as like out of sync or anything.
Yeah.
Their use of the term smartass was just in weird context. Like, hey, what's your name, smartass? Who are you, smartass? You're a smartass. I like you.
Yeah. Here in the States, we use our word smartass sparingly.
Yeah. We use them appropriately.
Appropriately. Thank you. I say it quite a bit, I think. Smart ass. I'm usually talking about myself when I say it.
Yeah.
Or my mom is calling me that.
Right, yeah. Like if somebody's being sarcastic, you're a smart ass. You know?
In which case, I maybe I hear that more than I do people calling me my name. I'm a very sarcastic person. Yeah, I don't remember really noticing that about the movie. I thought it was fine. I mean, granted, like we watched this movie right after I watched the trailer for Santa Inc. Oh my god. What grade do you give this one?
Well, you go first. I went first the last movie.
I will give this, I give it an A-. It does get a little complicated. Some parts, it was a little hard for me sometimes to follow where the mystery was going. And I had to kind of double check, like, the plot synopsis to see if I was right. But I did really, really enjoy that. I love the animation in it. I thought it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only a 78-minute movie. And I like these characters. I like how unapologetic they were about the sex and violence in the film. Or mostly the violence is really just the one sex scene. But I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
I don't know if I can be that generous, but I'm with you. I definitely enjoyed it. I guess I don't know. I guess I got to go with a B.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. Like, but just really I'd put it up there in the A category. Just the animation alone was really cool in this movie.
Yeah, it was.
Especially the more trippy scenes, the more weird ass scenes with this cult of cats and these statues there watching them. And yeah, the movie goes places. Like, it starts out like this ordinary story of this guy and his cat moving into this new house.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there's like cat statues and gods and cat gods and ghosts and Nazi experiments. It escalates quickly.
Very quickly.
So I dug it. All right, well, that was fun to talk about. Those were fun to talk about, and we'll have more of these coming up. Where, again, we'll use the premiere feature on it, so we'll have the super chat there as well, so we can still keep midnight screenings going, just specifically as Patreon requests. So if there's anything that you want to request us review for midnight screenings, contribute over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob, and it's the top tier choice on there.
And catch me on twitch.tv/Jared Foils.
All right, thanks a million, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next time.